Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious, back in the bunker, Purple State Party. You know what we do. America, the center, common sense. And the 4th of July. Ha ha. There you go. So, we're going to give out, I guess what I should call the very first Purple Award, because I really love this story. DeSantis thanks. Praises Biden, for being on top of the Surfside tragedy since day one. See, that's purple right there. That's, who cares about politics at a time like that? Possibly 100 people or more could lose their lives in this horrific just collapse of a building. There's no time to play politics with that. It's, that's not political. That's, everybody should get on board, and that's what we need more of in America. We need to realize that we have problems that need to be tackled, and we need to do them with everybody on board. We'll get to some of those. This popped up about the Mueller report that, 8 months before the close, he knew there was no collusion, and yet we had to sit through all that. And really, man, everybody's playing ugly politics right now, and I think the American citizens are the losers, right or left. We lose. You could say my team won, but, rising gas prices, blah, 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 saying racist stuff, like trying to shove things like critical race theory. Like, I don't know who won this election, man. It certainly wasn't Miss America. Yeah, and here's, more of that, with this cancel culture, this woke culture, this treat people with respect culture, and they can't even do it themselves, What was that they said? It was a shit show, and it starts at the top, but they want to preach love and all of that and then act this way. Am I surprised? No, I'm not. I can imagine what a hellacious bitch she is. And she breathes it down onto everybody because the next person is going to act that way. People emulate their bosses, So this came out. This was from, I don't know, you can see it on there. It says Washington something, I think. Dark glasses, man, that's one of my weaknesses. That's my kryptonite, I can't see shit, even with it on full brightness. But it's tiny on my screen, just so you know. But 40% of San Francisco residents plan to leave the city due to quality of life. 40%. Because when you're paying way more, it used to be that it was better to buy a house than rent. But in places like San Francisco, you can't do that. Mortgages are higher than rents, and to qualify for that size of a loan, you have to be making a lot of money, so a lot of people have to rent. My brother makes good money. He lives up there. He has to rent. And then, if you're paying rent in an expensive city or you're paying a mortgage in an expensive city and you're not getting anything in return, you're literally getting shit in return, but you're going to want to move. This was one of my favorites, but I couldn't wait. Hard to believe, but Texas has followed the order of that idiot newspaper in California and released a map of the locations of its gun owners. Their locations are marked by red dots on the map below. Oh, man. Oh, our politics here suck. A real interesting bit. Apparently some practice ballots were left logged into the computer, something like 130,000 votes in the New York. And we're not allowed to question election results. That's all. I think that's what gets lost, because the media wants everything in highs. They don't want middles. So they don't want to talk about the fact that there's reasons to question elections in general, especially the 2021 with mail-in ballots. Come on. It's not insurrection. It's not necessarily believing a theory. It's something that's sus. That's all it was, man. A bunch of paper ballots not counted right. We see stuff like this. We don't know. A lot of people, they want to keep repeating that Biden won by 8 million votes, but it wasn't 8 million votes. Those were all extra votes. He had already won California and New York and a lot of liberal states. He already won them, so he had extra votes. The race was very close. A few mistakes in a few key places, and it would have changed the election. And that's the only reason why people are questioning it. But when there's errors made, what are we supposed to think? Oh, there it is. See, I should always just flip forward one slide, shouldn't I? 135 test ballots. 135,000. And now would make a difference because that's more, to be honest with you, that's more than what, slightly more than what Biden actually won by. He didn't win by 8 million. He won by something lower than that. I don't remember what it is. Yeah, I'm getting to a few of my favorites early because it's 4th of July and I just want to have a good time. Delta variant found to be twice as virulent and blah, blah, blah. Whoever cares at this point. Yeah. This is like a sequel to a sequel to a sequel, and it's just run its course, and everybody's like, yeah, we no longer care. I found this one. Yeah. This is more the bullet point kind of crap. America's first black billionaire calls for $14 trillion in reparations, and he wants his check too. I didn't get a chance to research this, but that is kind of funny. That we're even talking about it. I just, but again, this is a great way to buy votes. That's all it is. Doctors no longer recommending antidepressants for white males since they're supposed to feel bad. Another one of my favorites. Oh, man. The B. That one's good. I like that one. If you have to hide your curriculum for close proximity to anyone's kids. Yeah, it's that critical race theory. Instead of teaching about Rosa Parks, and Martin Luther King, and people that made a change without just being rhetoric and riots, I'd be behind that. I don't understand how anybody doesn't understand that what they're trying to do is the same sort of class divisions that they did in communist and fascist countries. That's all they're doing. They want white people to feel bad. They want black people to feel bad, but they never want them to get together. This was interesting about land of white privilege right there. From 2019 census. White and black Americans make the least out of other nationalities. I mean, none of them would be qualified as white, so, but, yeah, there you have it. I mean, people do well from other countries here, but, nobody wants to hear that. That's boring. It doesn't get clicks. Oakland City Council voted to defund the police. And again, this is Jen Psaki in the White House trying to blame Republicans for voting against basically, and trying to say that Republicans are responsible. This is who's responsible. Oakland, they did it. And it doesn't work. You need more on policing. This approach does not work. This just doesn't work. Less cops don't mean safer streets. It's absolutely dumb that somebody would think it works that way. And here's another one that people think is dumb, there's really something unfair about this, says the female athlete. Women's rights, bigot, says the big hulking man. I mean, we talked about this last week. I mean, testosterone is a vital part of an athlete's physiology, if I'm using those words right. And it isn't fair. It just isn't. And it's trampling on women's rights. And a lot of it is being done by men who don't care. They don't care. I will illustrate that point right now. So here in California somewhere, I believe, there was a spa. And a black woman, I guess, and an Asian woman walked into the women's changing room and they saw a biological male naked. The black woman raised a ruckus. The Asian woman wanted her money back. Understandable, shocking. It's not what you expect. You're there for a relaxing day at the spa. But a gentleman says that they're both being bigots. They're not being inclusive. That's really easy for the man to say. Because the man is not the one whose safety is being threatened by these changing rules that are meant to placate a smaller number than the majority. Much smaller number. And now, This is the part where the liberals would jump in and say that I'm being transphobic. It has nothing to do with trans people. It has nothing to do with transgender women, transgender males. It doesn't. Man, humans, but especially men, filthy little worms. Men plant cameras in women's toilets. Now you're giving them an avenue. You're giving them an avenue. We saw today, there was a video of a man who just tackled a girl and put his hands down her pants and grabbed her ass and then ran away. That's all that happened. Men will use this loophole. $400 billion was conned out of governments on EDD and COVID relief payments and things like that. $400 billion. You see, it's really easy to say that you're discriminating against transgender people. That's an easy way out of the argument. But that's not who we're talking about. We're talking about scummy men who will use every advantage. And I'm not saying the guy at the spa. Don't get me wrong, I'm not. Because I'm all for that. But for the example of bathrooms, a lot of places that I go to have single-use bathrooms that are designated as unisex. All gender, or some say family. So we try to fix the problem. But at some point, we have to draw a line and just say that certain things need to be certain ways. We try our hardest to placate everybody, but when we start placating a small group at the expense of a larger group, I don't know that that's progress. I don't think it is. And in the case of women's athletics, it's not progress. You're striking down the girls' and the women's ability to get scholarships, build a career. Venus Williams recently said that if she played against something like the top 1,500 men, she would lose. So even the lowest ranked male could beat Venus Williams, according to her. And even if they lower their testosterone, by the time they've hit puberty, it's over. They have bigger lungs. They have bigger everything. It's not fair. I understand what we're trying to do, and I support what we're trying to do. But in reality, we're sacrificing too much. And I think that's the bottom line. Men don't give a shit about what happens with the women. They don't worry about how the effect could lead to women being taken advantage of. Right now, believe it or not, spy cam video out of the bathrooms is huge. You put a spy cam in a bathroom, you can make a lot of money. So it's something like $120 a second. It's mad money. So we're inviting this cheating to happen. That's the problem. We're inviting men to make the transition into a woman to become the top athlete. We're not seeing a lot of that right now, but you know how it all works. It works in the future. Things snowball. That's the way it works. It snowballs. And we have to change it. And we have to be able to discuss it with open minds. So, mentioned it earlier, but, Biden advisor claims the GOP defunded the police. There was police funding in a giant bill, and the Republicans voted against it. It was a giant bill that had all kinds of what they call pork. Okay? If funding the police was so important, why didn't the Democrats just put it up as its own separate bill? Why do they always have to stick so many riders on? Why do both sides do that? Why do they allow riders to destroy a good bill? I don't get it. And Psaki comes out. That babbling parrot. She comes out and says, oh yeah, they oppose the American right. Bullshit. Okay, bullshit. Let's be honest here. All right? Cities directly defunded their police, and those cities were Democratic really led. The mayor, the police chief, everybody. All a bunch of fucking hippies. Here's some good ones that came up in response to last week's I'm going to nuke your ass. The AR-15 as a weapon of war is useless against the military. Oh man, they pivot so much. They should play basketball. Government in 2020. We're going to legalize weed, no more kids in cages, and defund the police. Government in 2021. Best I can do is nuke you. He threatened us with nukes, and nobody I mean, come on, people. What is this dude going to have to say before you abandon this particular ship? But anyhow, you're not going to because you're entrenched and you're too stupid and you're too brainwashed. You know? So this idiotic administration puts this one out. Right here, planning a cookout, catch up on the news. According to the Farm Bureau, the cost of the 4th of July barbecue is down from last year. It's a fact that must be heard. Hot dog, the Biden economic plan is working, and that's something we can all relish. Oh, geez. It's cringy puns. And it's talking about hot dogs and pork and beans that are on sale at some stores, basically, 16 cents. I mean, not true. I mean, this is the kind of response that you see. This is from people that blue check marks, even apparently representatives, even. I mean, everything's more expensive. So 16 cents on some fucking hot dogs and pork and beans. We haven't had gas prices like this in 7 years. I mean, it's a shit show. The average price for a gallon of gasoline is $3.15. Around here, we've already topped $4. So here in California, and my favorite is people say, well, people are driving more now. And they always raise the price when people are driving now. But here's the thing. Yeah, they raise it like a quarter. They don't raise it like nearly $2. They don't just skyrocket the price. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If only I could put ketchup in my gas tank. Yeah, there you go. Another person whose name is Save 16 Cents on my 4th. Chinese propaganda, it really is. Now, there's oh man, I'm going to blow her name again, but, Lauren right there. If only I could put ketchup in my gas tank. Yeah. 16 cents, this guy says. The math on that is the median home price goes up 16 cents every 1.3 seconds right now. Yeah. So you shove your 16 cents, now do gas prices. Oh, man. And how embarrassing is it that they thought 16 cents would make them look better? But it'll cost you $20 more to fill your gas tank to go shopping, and you might get robbed. Yeah. Good work, guys. I mean, they're just a shit show. The White House is filled with a bunch of fucking knuckleheads. Bunch of career politicians who are getting old and don't give a fuck how it all turns out. Trust me on that. They don't give a fuck how this thing's going to turn out. They don't care, dude. They ain't going to be here. Most of them are thinking to themselves, 4 more years, I ain't going to give a shit. They're not going to care. 8 more years, forget about it. Biden's administration is such an abysmal failure that the White House is now posting this. Let that sink in for a bit. Exactly. Thank you, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer 666. Oh, man. That's exactly it. 16 cents. Okay. I'm a democratic socialist. I said, it's cool that you be so open about your mental illness. Oh, man. It's so fucking true, dude. So true. It is nowadays. The league clarifies the entire league is gay, just the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, man, that's... Yeah, I kind of miss that kind of humor. Bo Burnham's another guy. He has a Netflix special, Inside. And it's refreshing to hear people start to take a little bit of chances with their humor now. We've been so PC for so long, dude. Time for change. Biden says Latinx ain't getting vaccinated because of giant sombreros make it impossible to enter pharmacies. Of course, he didn't say that's B again. But, these are just reminders, that Joe Biden is the racist. That's all they wanted to say about Trump, so I'm going to remind you who the real racist is. Now, here you go. China with their slave labor. Bronco making the top 10 again, Good cartoonist really hits it on the head. We shouldn't be going to the Winter Olympics, man. China's not a good place. They're evil. They have slaves. They have concentration camps. They have everything that America stands against. So we don't need to go to war. We could play nice, but going over to the Olympics, I don't know. That's scummy, man. My F-15 arrived today. Nukes are on back order. Yeah. That's America right there, man. I mean, you could say there's fucked up things about America. And a lot of them are true. But those people aren't acting like Americans. They're acting like selfish, narcissistic individuals. America's a group effort. If you ain't part of the group, then you're not part of the group. It's that simple. You want to lock police officers in police stations? Try to set it on fire? Good. You're not really an American. And bringing this one up, I find this really funny. Congratulations, sad woke athlete. You're a meme now. She has every right. I mean, it's probably not a popular opinion. But she has every right. Because she's representing her country. She's not representing a country or, a company or an entity. You know, one of the reasons why I wasn't a fan of Colin Kaepernick is because you shouldn't do that shit at your job. It affects your company and the company's product. So kneeling at the national anthem when you're representing a team like that, that's owned by people and that employs people, you know, your country, if you're representing your country and that's how you feel, okay, that's how you feel. You have that right. You have the First Amendment. You're not hurting anybody. You might be offending a few people. And you want to know something? Honestly, maybe you make a few people wonder why. And maybe they change their minds about something. You know? Maybe the point gets across. It certainly was before. I think police brutality was at a low. Maybe not an all-time low. I don't know. I don't read statistics all that often, and I just thought of this right now, and I haven't had any time for research. Well, maybe Kaepernick made a difference. I don't know. So less people got beat up by the police. Great. How can we be against that? You know? But, I want to flip back to this. The 4th of July is coming up, man. I'm saying, it's a group thing. And, I'm here. I have a list of photos in front of me, just photos, and I gotta go off. I gotta say something. That's what I do. It's off the cuff, man. It's from here. So, this one touches me. That the whole joke is that this guy went out and got an F-15 because he'll take on the government. That might not sound like a good thing to you guys. Those people who say that January 6th was the darkest day in American history. No, it wasn't. That wasn't shit, really. But they were standing up for America. They were not standing up for an individual or a group of individuals or a hate of other individuals. Okay? That's not what happened. That was, by very definition, a mostly peaceful protest. Yes, a lady was shot, and other people had medical issues. Not denying that. That's bad. Sucks. But they were Americans, acting in what they believed was America's best interest. They weren't kicking in windows and looting and stealing shit and trying to kill people. Okay? That was not the overwhelming vibe that was going on there that day. But they're going to sell that lie because tyrants like to rewrite history. So just remember, our history is overthrowing tyrants. We're 1-0 in that. Actually, I think we're 2-0. Because they came back in 1812. And we fought a civil war. And we didn't fight a civil war to overturn our government. We fought a civil war because some states were getting a little out of hand. They weren't complying with what we now know was an abhorrent, cruel thing called slavery. But we fought that war. And then we spent the rest of our time helping out the world. Essentially bailing them out, supplying them, and then sending our troops over there. And all those men and all those women who died for our flag in many conflicts and in many theaters. The women who went to work and built the planes and then had to fly the planes over there. the kids at home that were doing recycling drives. That's what went on in World War II. Girls rode during the American Revolution, took the message that the redcoats were coming, rallied the troops. We even had a black president of Congress way back when. Technically our first president. He's the first president of the Congress that would preside over what was becoming the United States. It's a convoluted argument, and everybody can get all whoop-de-whooped about it. But my point is, they came together as Americans. And that's what we need to do. On both sides, we need to come together, and we need to kick these politicians in the ass and said, we need shit fixed, and I don't want you trying to divert our attention with this other bullshit. And we need to tell the media, if you are not going to tell us the truth, then shut the fuck up. All right? Happy 4th of July. Copious out. 4th, baby. Boom, 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 boom.